Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Migade, my colleague, made a clear prayer that he would want the minister to come here and brief the House. And I'm going to ensure that is done in a week's time.
Yes, Honorable Gwan.
Right Honorable Speaker, we have entered the new year, and I'm sure all of us in our individual capacity worked on our new year resolutions. And I believe that members of the cabinet did the same. Right Honorable Speaker, we seem to be going through the same situation we faced in the year 2021, when the ministers, although we increased the numbers of ministers, and I'm one of those who uncomfortably supported the motion to increase the number of ministers. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, we would want our government chief whip to remain alive. He is now holding the docket of so many ministers, and a human being cannot manage every situation the minister, the government chief whip. The same thing happened with Ruth Nankibiro until we rebuked her on the floor of Parliament, that every minister earns a salary. So why should you come and work for them? So, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm seeing it happening now with our new whip. We have all worked on our New Year resolutions, and I would like the cabinet ministers to come up to give us at least some good impression that they have changed.
Thank you, Honorable Cecilia Senior, for giving way. Honorable Speaker, I managed to attend the budget committee when we were passing supplementaries for different entities and ministries. These ministers were coming in full number there, and you could see them. Minister of Education, apart from the First Lady, they were all there. You go to Finance, Defense, Trade, Energy, all of them, apart from the Chief Whip. So what I'm saying, Madam Speaker, if I'm giving honorable member, is that when it comes to the issue of supplementary and the money, they are alive and kicking. When it comes to parliamentary work, nothing. But when you go outside there, they have their vehicles full of sirens, making noise and leading cars. Ministers are not supposed to have these vehicles, but we give them away. We suffer with our vehicles. Their policemen push us out of the road, yet the right of way is for you, Madam Speaker, and some few other people. So that's what is happening. I saw Honorable, my brother here, he was there for the supplementary. Why do you come for supplementary? When it comes to parliamentary work, after getting the money, you refuse to carry out your job.
Thank you for the information. Thank you for the information. Right Honorable Speaker.
Can we conclude on that?
Yes, my neighbor had some urgent issue.
Right Honorable Speaker, it is information that I was giving to Mama. Right Honorable Speaker, you chair the Appointments Committee. I am a member of the Appointments Committee. And the information I want to give Right Honorable Speaker is that there was an undertaking from these ministers who appeared. Because whoever came to be approved, there was a concern on attendance of Parliament. And they all undertook to behave. Unfortunately, they seem to have reneged on their undertaking. The information I want to give you, Mama, is that these ministers have now turned out to be untruthful because they have reneged from their undertaking. When they were in the Appointments Committee, they were very humble. They said they would be coming to the House all the time. That's the information I want to give.
Thank you for the information. Right Honorable Speaker, the information probably I would want to add on to my submission, Right Honorable Speaker, is that we now know who are the people's ministers. When you look at them, they are the same. There is this Henry who was yesterday ours, Nanki Birwa, our usual Bahati, and then our former minister of internal. They are the same. Now, where are the others? So these are the people's ministers, and we are,
Members.
Right Honorable Speaker, we must come up with performance assessment of these ministers, and the president must listen to us.
Members, the issue has been taken. Honorable Taiwa, it is really a fact that we need the ministers in the house. One time when I walked out of here because there were no ministers, I want you to listen to this. It is the same ministers who went running to cabinet saying I'm mistreating them. They went to cabinet and said I was mistreating them. Instead of coming to defend, there is a budget framework paper for their ministries. Instead of coming to defend, you're in an air-conditioned office. Next item.
Item 3 on the other paper, bills first reading, Roman 1, the supplementary appropriation number 4 bill 2021.
There's a procedural matter.
Madam Speaker, the attendance of ministers to Parliament in our rules, at least Rule 50, is mandatory. And generally in our rules, matters of urgent attention are not supposed to be brought back. They are supposed to be responded to immediately. If you look at our order paper, for example, item 9, it has responses by ministers to urgent questions. Yet urgent questions are supposed to be responded to instantly. So the procedural issue I'm raising, because this touches on our work and performance as an institution. We come here with a very big order paper that has matters that are supposed to have been dealt with. I sympathize with the Honorable Taiwan. I have said it many times. Every matter, and this is what Honorable Bahat used to do. So every matter, it's like they have to go and inform others. Today, his work has been to take notice on behalf of others. They will come. So, Madam, the procedure issue I am raising after citing the rules is whether this Parliament must not take a stand about the attendance of ministers. Yet our rules say they must attend. Shall, actually the word shall.
The government chief whip has taken note of that. And the next time, government must take a position on this matter. I mean, Parliament must take a position on this matter. We must take a position on whether we need ministers in the house or we don't need them. You get it, eh? The rules are very clear. Next.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay on the table the supplementary appropriations bill number 4 of 2021. I beg to lay. It is accompanied by the certificate of financial implications.
Is it 2021 or 2022?
Sorry, Madam Speaker, there is a small anomaly which I need to correct. This is a bill which I'm supposed to read for the first time. Yes. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Supplementary Appropriations Bill number 4 of 2021 be read for the first time.
Financial. Is a financial? The certificate of financial implication attached.
Madam Speaker, the bill is accompanied by the certificate of financial implications, which I beg to lay on table also. Thank you.
Is it seconded? Seconded by who?
The supplementary appropriation number 4 bill 2021.
The bill is referred to the Committee of Budget under Rule 129 of the Rules of Procedure. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on the 29th of September 2021, two supplementary appropriation bills were laid in the House, namely Supplementary Appropriation Bill number 2, 2021, which pertains supplementary expenditure approvals for financial 2018-2019, and the supplementary appropriation number 3, Bill 2021, which pertains the expenditure approvals of financial 2019-2020. Right Honorable Speaker, 4 months since they were laid and no report have been made to this House. It's contrary to Rule 129 of our Rules of Procedure. Right Honorable Speaker, today the Minister is laying number 4. We have no report on 2 and 3. In utter contravention.
When was 2 and 3 laid?
On the 29th of September 2021. Honorable Speaker, a little matter is that the Auditor General already closed off and reported to Parliament regarding financial 2018-19 and 19-20, when the appropriation process was still incomplete. Because until a report is brought to the floor, the process is incomplete. But the Auditor General has already reported on those 2 financial years. But Honorable Speaker, this raises issues regarding the implication of the bills when passed by Parliament, given the fact that we are now in 2021-2022, which the Minister has presented. Right Honorable Speaker, the procedural matter, specifically under Rule 43, whether it would not be procedural right that the chairperson of the Budget Committee briefs the House on the status of the 2 bills and the implication they would have when passed or rejected by Parliament. Remember, we are in a new financial year. The 4th appropriation is being laid. 2 and 3 have never been reported upon. But Honorable Speaker, are we proceeding right? Is the Minister of Finance alive to this procedural anomaly that has the potential of descending us into procedural illegality as a House?
Honorable Nankabira.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank Honorable Matthias Mpuga for the pertinent issues he has raised. Right Honorable Speaker, I thought that when this bill is tabled for first reading, the relevant committee will be able to process it, see whether the issues, for example, that are raised by the LOP cannot be raised there when the minister appears with his team to interface with the committee. That committee should come here with a report, and probably at committee stage or the second bill's second reading. Wouldn't it be procedurally okay to move along that line? The committee receives this bill and then brings the report. I'm just seeking for your clarification.
What Honorable Mpuga is saying is really correct. It's a correct position. However, the committee had some very unavoidable circumstances that they reported to us on what was happening. And maybe the chairman can say a word, but we regret the unavoidable circumstances.
But-
You know what we've been going through? There are some people who could not even come near each other because of, what was happening. But now that we are able to recollect ourselves, the report is going to be presented. We should be able to give them a timeline. Now that they're even finishing the budget framework paper, just bear with us.
Madam Speaker, maybe before the chair responds to also, because we have also been getting complaints from the entities who we passed money under the supplementary, that apart from the two supplementaries that we passed here, that apart from State House, they have never received the money. Yet at that time, they were showing us the sources of funding for the supplementary. Maybe the minister and the chairperson.
Members,
that.
let's try to move faster. Money can only be given when it's there. You cannot give what you don't have. But the money will be available. The money is going to be available. Let me hear from the chairman, but really, after I've apologized for and on behalf of the institution, just make a clarification.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Well, as I can understand the circumstances of the committee, I cannot understand the failure of the Minister of Finance to understand the implications of a reported upon financial year and closed by the Auditor General by simply proceeding to the House without even asking what became of the former bills, the two bills, 2 and 3, to which you are supervisor. So, whereas the committee has business to transact, but I thought the minister would take responsibility too, as a supervisor of this entity, to ask of these reports and should have desisted coming to the floor of Parliament with backlog. Because what's the implication of us deliberating upon 4 when 2 and 3 already are pending? And remember, the danger is that the Auditor General reported close the financial year when there's unfinished business. So probably a comment by the minister would also help us know how to proceed, because I can see very serious flaws in the way we are processing this business, Honorable Speaker. We need assurance from the minister whether he actually understands what we are doing.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I spent some time with Honorable Matthias Mpuga in the Public Accounts Committee. I therefore clearly understand and appreciate what he's talking about. Right Honorable Speaker, I think sometimes from these debates, we pick lessons which can help this House in future. And also, like he says, when the Auditor General does his reports, we normally use his recommendations to improve systems and methods of work. How I wish that as you have guided, we take this as a lesson, and going forward, we do things differently. I beg to submit.
Thank you,
Madam.
thank you. You've learned your lesson, and it's not about the winner or loser. It's about a learning process on how we correct our processes and how we correct each other. And budget committee, you should also take note of that. Next item. He has nothing to add.
Item 3, bills first reading, Roman 2, the Electricity Amendment Bill 2022.
Honorable Minister of Energy, Mineral and Mineral Development. ICOP.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues. I beg to move that the bill entitled the Electricity Amendment Bill of 2022 be read for the first time. And I have the certificate of financial implication.
Please lay it.
I'd like to lay it on the table.
The bill stands to be referred to the Sectoral Committee of Natural Resources in accordance to the Rule 190. Is seconded. Is the bill seconded? It is seconded by Rita, Solomoni, Dr. Nekesa, Seungu, Honorable Bahati, Honorable Biga, Honorable Cheptoris, Kalwanga. So the bill is referred to the Committee of Natural Resources.
The Electricity Amendment Bill 2022. Item 4 on the other paper, statement by Minister on the fuel crisis in the country.
Members, have you got the document on your iPads? Is it downloaded? Listen. And strictly, I will allow a debate on this for only 20 minutes. And if you want more time, I am making a request. If you want more time, then we defer it for Tuesday. Why? We have a constitutional date to meet. We have a constitutional date to meet, and this is a very crucial thing that we must really handle with care. We have the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility now. We have a budget framework paper that we must finish today. So if members want to debate this issue of fuel crisis, which has affected everybody, then we refer it for a Tuesday.
Madam Speaker.
If you want to debate, I will give you 20 minutes. Yes.
We can have the statement presented, and as you have guided,
the power on the other paper.
And then if you allow, we continue with the debate next week.
Can we have it uploaded on our read it, and then we debate it on Tuesday. Next item.
Item number 4, motion for adoption of the report of the Budget Committee.
Yes, Tinka.
Madam Speaker.
Tinka, you came on a bicycle. Where is it?
Whereas we agree with your ruling, Right Honorable Speaker, that she can make a presentation and we do a debate, we would also pray that as we wait for the debate on Tuesday, critical decisions be taken. Because the issue of fuel is adversely affecting the economy of this country and adversely affecting every sector. So if we keep saying we postpone, Ugandans are becoming very desperate, including us members of parliament. The other day, I had to ride a bicycle to come to work. I would not want to continue to ride a bicycle. Then I am knocked by these people who have lead cars. No, I will be knocked by these people with lead cars.
Order, Madam Speaker. Order, Madam Speaker. The order is very clear.
Yeah,
The Speaker has already ruled and he's continuing to make arguments.
Thank you, Honorable Tinker. The information I would like to give to the House. Right, Honorable Speaker, currently in the villages, there are no bars of washing shops in the villages. And right now, the price of a bar of soap in my district is at 10,000 Uganda shillings. Right, Honorable Speaker, the scarcity of fuel
Honorable
is
Gilbert.
affecting everything in this country.
Honorable Gilbert Olanya
Yes, right, Honorable Speaker.
of Clark.
Yes,
Can you have a seat?
thank you.
I made the ruling that the report will be presented, debated upon, resolutions arrived on Tuesday. For now, I'm the chair. Yes. So can we go to the next item?
Item 5, motion for adoption of the report of the Budget Committee on the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility and Economic and Fiscal Update for the financial year 2021-22 to financial year 2025-26.
Honorable members. Honorable members, Honorable Nankabiro, we're in the house. Honorable members, Section 4 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 provides for the development of a national fiscal policy based on the number of principles, which include sufficiency in revenue mobilization to finance government programs, maintenance of prudence and sustainable level of public debt, management of fiscal risk in a prudent manner, efficiency, effectiveness, and value for money in expenditure, and consistency in medium-term expenditure framework in the National Development Plan, among others. The Charter of Fiscal Responsibility, therefore, is a government strategy to ensure that the fiscal balances and the total public debt level are sustainable over a medium term and a long term. Section 5 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 requires the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to table a Charter of Fiscal Responsibility for parliamentary approval. And that's what we are doing today. Within 3 months after the first sitting of Parliament after the general elections. We are late on that. We do apologize for that. On the 9th September 2021, the Minister of Finance tabled the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility and was referred to the Committee of Budget in compliance with our rules of procedure. Given the import of the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility, it is prudent that the House considers the prior consideration of the National Budget Framework Paper so that we can ensure that the National Budget Framework Paper is consistent with the Charter. And that's why we are looking at the Charter before we look at the Budget Framework Paper. Accordingly, I invite the chairman to present the committee report on the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. And since this is the first sitting of the year, Happy New Year, everyone. Right Honorable Speaker and members, the Charter for Fiscal Responsibility, which refers as CFR, and the Economic and the Fiscal Update, which is abbreviated as EFU, were presented in the House on 9 September under Section 5, Subsection 5 of PFMA Act 2015, and it was referred to the committee. Right Honorable Speaker and members, a background to this, that the Charter for Fiscal Responsibility says a framework for economic management in order to attain socio-economic transformation while maintaining macroeconomic stability. The purpose of this charter is to enhance credibility, predictability, and transparency for financial fiscal policy. The charter fosters fiscal responsibility through numerical fiscal rules or objectives based on the following principles set out in Section 4, Subsection 2 of PFMA. See as the Speaker has elaborated on that. One, to support the social economic transformation agenda while ensuring macroeconomic stability and the fiscal sustainability during the period for financial 2021-22, financial 25-26. Government has proposed to adopt the following measurable fiscal objectives. Objective number 1, public debt in nominal terms is reduced to below 50% of GDP by financial 2025-26, as shown in the table. Honorable Speaker and the members, this charter was uploaded. I hope members are all there. You can look at that small table. Nominal debt to GDP, financial 2021-22, 52.7%, 22-23, 53.1%, 23-24, 52.4%, 24-25 is 51.2%, and the 25-26 is 49.3%. Objective number 2, the overall fiscal balance, including grants, should gradually adjust to a deficit of not exceeding 3% of GDP by 2025-26 as shown. It has indicated the overall fiscal balance, including grants. 2021-22 is negative 6.4. 2022-23 is negative 5.4. 23-24 is negative 4.6. 24-25 negative 4.2. 25-26 3%. Objective 3, a maximum of oil revenue was 0.8% of proceeding year estimated non-oil GDP outturns shall be transferred to Petroleum Fund for budget operation. The balance shall be transferred to Petroleum Revenue Investment Reserve for investment in accordance with PFMA 2015 as amended. It's important to note that the charter takes into consideration the start of commercial oil production in 2024-25. Therefore, the measurable fiscal objective are mindful of the existence of petroleum revenues in the medium-term fiscal framework. Methodology, members, you can read that. We adopted a methodology. We looked at document PFMA Act as amended, National Development Plan 3, East African Monetary Union Protocol 2013, Public and Other Financial Liabilities Management Framework, Financial 2018-2019 to 2020-23, Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy for Financial 2021-22, Domestic revenue mobilization strategy for financial 2019-20 to 2023-24. Opposition response to the CFR, September 2021. Stakeholders consulted Minister of Finance, Bank of Uganda, National Planning Authority, Economic Policy Research Center, Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group, and Office of Leader of Opposition. Performance of the first charter for fiscal responsibility for the period financial 2016-2017 to 2020-2021. The measurable fiscal objectives of the first charter include Objective 1, government fiscal balance including grants should reduce to a deficit of not greater than 3% of GDP by 2020-2021. Objective number 2, public debt in net present terms is maintained below the 50% GDP, of which net present value of external debt is maintained below 30% of GDP, and the net present value of domestic debt is maintained below 20% of it. The committee observed the following. An assessment of fiscal outturn against fiscal target indicates deviation from the proposed CFR. CFR is Charter for Fiscal Responsibility. The first one. As at the end of financial 2020-21, the fiscal deficit, including grant, was Uganda shillings 14,563.6 billion, equivalent to 9.8% of GDP, while the present value of public debt was reported at Uganda shillings 33,362.55 billion, equivalent to 39.38% of GDP. This indicates that only Objective 2 of the first charter was met. The table highlights that because the deficit went beyond. The fiscal deficit expanded from 7.1 in financial year 2019-20 to 9.8 in financial year 2020 following the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. This was driven by revenue shortfalls caused by slowdown in economic activity and increased fiscal expenditure requirements required to meet the impact of COVID-19 crisis. Members can read table 1 and look at the fiscal deficit over the first charter period was substantially financed through increased external and domestic borrowing. Present value of external and domestic debt as a percentage of GDP grew from 14.4% and 12.7% respectively in financial 2016-2017 to 22.5% and 16.8% respectively in financial 2020-21. A fiscal deficit financed by domestic borrowing has a huge implication on cost of doing business due to its effect of crowding out of the private sector in the credit market, and consequently lead to high interest rates or higher cost of capital. It's well known that one of the bottlenecks to the development of the private sector is limited access to and the cost of capital. Therefore, domestic borrowing should be discouraged. Members look at the summary of fiscal operations from financial 2016-2017 to financial 2020-21, table 2. And the table 3 look at the financial operations, physical operations for the same period, financial 2016-2017, 2020-2021, those two tables. 4.0, committee observations and the recommendation on the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility for financial 2020-21 to financial 2025-26 compliance with legal requirement. Compliance with legal framework, Roman 1, submission of CFR to Parliament. Section 5.1 of PFMA 2015 requires the CFR to be submitted to Parliament not later than 3 months after the first sitting of Parliament following the general elections. The first sitting of 11th Parliament was held on 24th May 2021, and the CFR was submitted on 9th September 2021, 16 days after splitted time. The committee sought an explanation from Minister of Finance on this anomaly, and the minister provided an explanation to the committee. The committee recommends that in accordance with Section 78(1) of PFMA Act, the minister responsible for finance should also make a report to Parliament on failure to meet the requirement of the PFMA Act. 2, Roman 2, Section 5.1a, subsection I of PFMA 2015 express that the CFR shall provide a statement indicating measurable objective for fiscal policy for a period not less than 3 years, of which are consistent with principles set out in Section 4 of the PFMA as amended. The committee observes that the CFR is specified for a period of 5 years, fiscal years, 2021 to 22, 25, 26, and therefore it is consistent with the law. Number 3, methodology to be used to measure performance. Section 5.1, subsection A2 of PFMA 2015 expressed that the CFR shall provide an explanation of the methodology to be used to measure the performance of government against the fiscal policy objectives required in subsection 1A1. The committee observes that Chapter 4 of the CFR provides an explanation of the methodology to be used to measure the performance of government against the fiscal policy objectives. Number 4, Roman 4, sources of data. Section 5.1a, subsection 3 of PFMA 2015 express that the CFR shall provide a list of the sources of data to be used to report development against fiscal objectives required in subsection 1A1. The committee observes that the Chapter 5 of the CFR provides for the sources of data for monitoring the performance of the fiscal measurable objectives in this charter, therefore it is consistent with the law. Number 5, macroeconomic and fiscal projections. Section 5.1a, subsection 4 PFMA express that the CFR shall provide a demonstration of how the fiscal objectives set under subsection 1A, sub 1 are consistent with the principles set out in section 4 using macroeconomic and fiscal data. Assumption and projection provided in the economic and fiscal update referred in subsection 1B. The committee observed that the economic and fiscal update provides macroeconomic and fiscal projection for 5-year period of the CFR. The format of the CFR, section 5.7 expressed that the CFR should be in the format provided in Schedule 2 of the PFMA 2015 as amended. The committee observed that the CFR has been provided in the format prescribed in PFMA as amended and therefore comply with the law. So members, you can read the format and all those that is included. 4.2, consistency with National Development Plan. The overall goal of NDP3 is macroeconomic management is to accelerate and sustain inclusive economic growth while maintaining macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability. The macroeconomic objectives underpinning the strategy include, among others, 1, pursuing a prudent fiscal policy with the aim of supporting macroeconomic stability consistent with the regional and domestic financial fiscal rules. This includes a ceiling on debt to GDP of 50% in present value terms and a gradual achievement of a fiscal deficit of 3 percentage points by 2024-25. Domestic revenue annual growth of 0.5% of GDP. The committee observed that the two fiscal objectives of the CFR, meaning total debt to GDP in nominal terms, is reduced to below 50% of GDP by the financial 25-26. The overall fiscal balance, including growth, should gradually adjust to a deficit not exceeding 3% of GDP by 2025-26, in principle consistent with NDP3. However, the CFR fiscal deficit target of 4.2% in financial 24-25 is not consistent with NDP3 and the East African Community Convergence Criteria target of -3% by end of by financial 24-25. This raises an implication on implementation of NDP3. This could therefore imply that NDP3 is reviewed in line with CFR. Revenue mobilization 4.3. The committee observed that Uganda has implemented a wide range of tax and non-tax reforms, which are meant to form the foundation for stronger revenue outcomes. These reforms, together with compliance incentives, have resulted into increase in revenue to GDP growth from 11.9% in financial 2016-2017 to 13.3% in financial 2021. However, the revenue mobilization efforts have been largely hindered by existence of large informal sector that constitutes about half of economic activity. Tax to GDP has marginally grown from 11.5% in financial 2016-2017 to 12.4% in financial 2021, despite government incentives like tax registration enhancement program, TREP, that commenced in 2015-2016, and the domestic revenue mobilization strategy 2019-2020 to 2023-2024. In this regard, the committee recommends that government strengthen the implementation of domestic revenue mobilization strategy and an evaluation of domestic revenue mobilization strategy be carried out in order to ascertain its efficacy. In addition, committee recommends that the local government domestic revenue mobilization strategy currently under formulation be fast-tracked and implemented to support revenue mobilization effort at the sub-national level. The committee recommends a speedy formulation of tax policy to guide revenue mobilization effort. Domestic areas. The committee observes that whereas government has implemented several measures to tackle the problem of areas, including implementation of commitment control system, the total stock of domestic areas has grown from 517 billion in financial 26 to 27 to 4.1 trillion as of financial 2019-2020. It should be noted that out of this stock of domestic areas amounting to 4.1 trillion, only 1.68 trillion has been verified by Auditor General as at 30th June 2020. Main reasons for all these areas: one, court awards. Number two, diversion or use of funds for the purpose other than what they have that were intended for. Salary shortfalls caused by MDAs, enrolling in new staff on integrated personal and payroll system, habitual and erroneous drop-offs of staff from the payroll, interdiction, restatements after a very long time. Pension and gratuity areas caused by delay in processing pension files beyond a financial errors and inaccuracies on the pension payroll and weak accountability for pension funds. 5, insufficient budget allocation for utilities and other mandatory recurrent expenditure and failure by MDS to install prepaid meter. Budget shortfall for counterpart funding development budget. And the non-remittance of tax deduction of salaries, pay as you earn, and development projects withholding tax by some of the accounting officers. Now, the committee recommends the following. 1, government tracks the verification of all outstanding domestic areas. B, clear all the verified domestic areas within a period of 3 years. C, Section 78 and 79 of PFMA as applicable fully enforced for accounting officers who commit government to an expenditure outside the approved cash flow plans and the quarterly cash flow projection. Government should buy for utilities, obligations, salaries, pension, gratuities, and other compulsory obligations. Otherwise, deduction should be made at a vote ceiling to clear outstanding. 4.5, audit of Petroleum Fund. The committee observes that the petroleum recovery costs have not been audited for the last 6 years. However, government cannot be able to realistically quantify the recoverable costs by the petroleum companies involved in the petroleum exploration. If not tracked, these costs may escalate to unmanageable levels and impact on revenue generation from petroleum. We recommend, therefore, that the Auditor General should fast track the audit of recoverable costs since 2016 to date to establish credible recoverable costs. 4.6, public debt. The total stock as at end of December 2020 was United States dollars 17.96 billion, equivalent to 65.83 trillion, compared to $13.3 billion at the end of December 2029. This represents an increase of 35% in debt stock. This increase was an account of a raise in external borrowing and a disbursement to address socio-economic impact of COVID-19, as well as growth in domestic debt issuance to finance fiscal deficit. The normal debt to GDP as at December 2020 stood at 47.2% compared to 38% as of December 2019. In this regard, therefore, one of the factors driving up the cost of borrowing is proportional non-concessional debt, while concessional loans will make up 50.8% of external debt stock. Same concessional loans still make up, I beg your pardon, same concessional loans from China Exim Bank have rapidly grown over time and now makes up to 23.4% of debt stock. Unlike concessional loans from IDA and ADF, that is African Development Fund, not the other ADF. The two largest lenders, which have interest below 1%. Chinese loans come with interest rates averaging to 2%. Debt sustainability analysis indicates that Uganda is not under debt distress.
Members, I want to advise you, we have a very important,
And they will not do the same.
we have a very important document coming. The National Budget Framework paper. So the members who are going away should not blame us who remain here. Don't say we're not considered. Go ahead, summarize.
However, in this regard, we recommend that the government should explore means of contracting concessional deals other than non-concession, and the two option of debt swap, if possible. Fiscal risk. The committee observed that the PFM indicates a fiscal principle on management of fiscal risk in a prudent manner, and that the objective of the CFR must be based on. However, the committee was formed by Bank of Uganda that contingent liabilities like government loan guarantees, government back guarantee schemes, legal proceeding, termination clauses in public-private partnerships are not part and parcel of public debt stock, and consequently have not been considered in the current objective of the CFR. The committee recommends that this principle should be enforced with specific objective on managing of fiscal risks